Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. So welcome to our conference, and today's topic is New Silk Road is the main line of sustainable development of Kazakhstan and China. So today's our participants from China and Italy. It's David Seletse from University Padova, and from China we have 3 participants. They are Song Li Fang, Zhang Shaomin, Cheng Dawi. But unfortunately, they won't participate as they couldn't connect. So, our moderators is Aygul and Saltanat. So, please.
Good afternoon, dear participants of our today's online video conference. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Saltanat. I'm Bolashar scholar, and I'm PhD student, first-year student. So today we're going to be the moderators of today's video conference. First of all, I'd like to introduce the aims of our today's conference. As you know, it's going to be dedicated to the theme of a New Silk Road, the economic zone, economic belt. And the main aims of our conference will be to explore new opportunities of cooperation between the countries, between different countries, and not just in one sphere, but in different spheres like production, education and cultural sphere, and investments, trades, and to share the experience of these 2 countries between China and Kazakhstan. And all these activities, I should also mention that all these activities are done under the state programs of Nurlu Zhou and Chinese program One Belt, One Road.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mahpal. I'm bachelor and magister of Kazakh British Technical University. Now I'm first course of PhD student, economics, and during the discussion, following topics we are going to be discuss the position of Kazakhstan in various areas of cooperation. Next, financial support for energy cooperation and creation of free trade areas along an economic belt of the Silk Way. And let's start our reports. Our first participants on David Seletse. No? Igor Fernandez Plazao, building engineer, lecturer of the Technical University of Valencia, and Pablo Ejarque Gonzalez, industrial designer, engineer, and assistant researcher at the program Born in the Silk Road, the Polytechnical University of Valencia.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, first of all, thanks to Al-Farabi and to Obol to invite us, and gglobal to invite us to this conference. And we will be talking about the trendy Silk Road. We can just see the presentation, please. Okay, so it's me, Igor Fernandez Plazaola, and my colleague Pablo Ejarque. We are talking about the trendy Silk Road, last stop Valencia.
First of all, we would like to introduce the city of Valencia inside the Silk Road. Actually, it's considered the 6,060 kilometer in the Silk Road. And it's recognized as the focus point for the rest of the country, as it works at the center of the Silk Road in Spain. Moreover, recently, Valencia has been included as the 32nd member in the program of the Silk Road from the UNESCO Tourism Mundial Organization.
Okay, so why the importance of Valencia to the Silk Road and just the opposite? Why Valencia is important to the Silk Road and why the Silk Road is important to Valencia? By the end of the 18th century, half of the population of the whole Valencia city work in the silk industry, and after that it began to come down. Just some figures to remember: Spain is the 4th European economy. Spain as well is the economy which is growing faster nowadays in 2016 in the European Union. It's about 3.2%. Spain is world leader in tourism and as well in tourism management. According to some figures of the public works financing, Spain has been the best infrastructure companies are working there. In the ranking, public works financing has 5 out of the best companies in infrastructures are Spanish, and the 2 first are Spanish. Some important world infrastructure as the Panama Channel, as the fast train from La Meca to Medina, as most important airports in Washington, in London, Heathrow, are being run by Spanish companies, and as well, for example, the Riyadh subway nowadays. Valencia represents the 10% of the GDP of the Spanish economy. And in fact, Valencia's port is the first one in the Mediterranean in the volume of containers. Okay, about this month it was almost 7,000 ships coming to Valencia. Valencia's port is the 5th one in the European Union and is the number 30 in the world. Attending to some World Economic Forum, directly or non-directly, the new Silk Road will affect 55% of the GDP, world GDP. Attending to these figures as well, 70% of the world population will be affected by the new Silk Road, directly or indirectly. And as well, about 70% of the energetic resources will somehow have to be involved with the new Silk Road. So these figures are massive, okay? So attending to all this, does Valencia has to be the last stop of the Silk Road? I don't know. I mean, Valencia, yes or yes, could be the bridgehead to Latin America. And in Latin America means a market of more than 600 million people. Countries that are being developed right now.
So, which are the actions that are Valencia taking towards the Silk Road promotion? First, past June, Valencia was the host city of the second international UNESCO meeting called Valencia Silk City 2016, where it was evidenced the active participation of Valencia in the Silk Road and its many international relationships. Furthermore, a huge number of entities are really involved in the promotion of the Silk Road in Valencia, like the government of Valencia and the government of Spain. Moreover, public universities like the Polytechnic University of Valencia or the University of Valencia, and more private associations and companies. Also, Valencia has many architectural monuments that help its participation in the Silk Road. As we can see in the image, the Lonja de la Seda in Valencia, which was recognized as a World Heritage from the UNESCO in 1996. The neighborhoods of El Carmen and Belluters, where the artisanal tradition of silk is still present nowadays, or El Colegio del Arte Mayor de la Seda, which is in the image, which has been recently rebuilt and is considered an historic and artistic national monument. In addition, Spanish traditional festivities support the Silk Road because typical traditional dress are made, most of them, of silk. Now, we are going to see a video about Valencia and his close relation with the Silk Road.
Hello, this is the Valencia region, a wonderful place to see in Spain. And this is Silk Valencia, our value-added offer for the UNESCO Silk Road program. The city of Valencia was founded by the Romans over an Iberian settlement in 138 BC, strongly influenced by Phoenicians and Greeks, and conquered by the Arabs around 714 to the 13th century. Today, it is a prime tourist destination and trade center on the eastern Mediterranean shore. It's a dynamic community, warm and inviting, and open to abroad. Spain has been a leading tourist destination since the 1960s. The National Tourism Board, Tour España, has an extensive network of tourist offices across the world to support and promote the tourist products being offered along the Silk Road. The Valencia region is a leader in tourist know-how, technology and innovation, thanks to institutes like IVAT Tour, which places the latest tools and technology at the service of the tourist trade. By applying smart tourism techniques to the Silk Road, Valencia will generate high-value, experiential tourist products on the national and international levels. Smart tourist destinations, the use of new technologies, and the exchange of know-how among Silk Road members will generate high-value tourist experiences and contents throughout the entire trip of tourists visiting us. The Mediterranean landscape of Valencia has been strongly influenced by human settlement over the centuries. It is a perfect symbiosis of natural resources and culture. Major monuments inherited from a splendid history now form the structure of the old city center, especially the neighborhood known as Velluters, the silk makers district, which grew up in the Middle Ages to provide services for the silk industry. The 15th century Gothic silk exchange building, the House of the Silk Traders, was listed as UNESCO World Heritage in 1996. The College of the Higher Art of Silk Making was the center of the industry, conserving knowledge of the trade from its founding in the 15th century. This building is now being rehabilitated with private funding. Both Valencia and its hinterland have archaeological traces of industries related to silk making. As a result of all this, Valencia is proud of its silk tradition, and the use of silk still survives in present-day cultural manifestations, such as the traditional costumes used in festivities held all over the Valencia region. Valencia has a strong commitment to the UNESCO Silk Road, developing and implementing programs that will increase tourist attraction and justify its inclusion as a Silk Road member, a business opportunity and a growth opportunity for the road itself. Silk Valencia is a crossover project, inclusive and modular. It includes a mega fair for business, a large exhibition on silk, multitask tourist projects, and in addition, the constitution of the International Institute for Silk Studies. Valencia is the bridgehead for the Silk Road to Latin America. We are very proud to be heading the incorporation of Spain as the 32nd country of the Silk Road, and we are very grateful for this opportunity to have our project included. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in Valencia.
We go back to the presentation for the last slide, please. Well, so these are just some figures to start a discussion about Silk Road, its extensions, and where can it get to. So you've got here contact details in case you need, and we will be very proud to keep a conversation, a discussion on whatever thing you may need. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So if you have any questions from the audience, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Yes, Dario.
I wanted to address this question to Igor. Surname I forgot. Fernandez. Why Valencia was chosen to be the bridge to the Silk Road of Latin America?
Well, we think really deeply that Valencia has to be the door to Latin America and far beyond. Mainly one thing is 600 million market population, and they speak Spanish. So from all the Silk Road, we are the only ones speaking Spanish. And there's a fight of who discovered America. We are not going to get in there, but they speak Spanish. They speak Spanish, so they are wide open to Spain. Spain is a reference for all Latin America. They are always looking to us, always. They are developing countries. They have a lot to do, and they are always looking to us. So we are a reference for them. When you travel to South America, you really recognize that you are really recognized, and they invite us quite often. And we are really proud of them as well. So it's our contact link, and it's a deep link from many, many years, you know. So I think we are really the best ones who could open that market to the Silk Road.
Thank you very much. And I have one more question. So in your speech, you've told that the biggest airports in the world, like London Heathrow Airport, they are run by Spanish companies. And do they have like plans concerning this sphere in Central Asia, not only in that part? Thank you.
I don't really know, because it depends on how the government offers the national infrastructure. I mean, that was because England and USA, they opened public contracts to all the world to fight for this private-public way of managing airports. And they opened those contracts to the world, and many companies around the world fought for those contracts, and Acciona, in this case in Heathrow, won the contract. So it doesn't depend on the companies, it depends on how you manage your infrastructures. For example, here in Kazakhstan, I know you've got the Spanish train, Talgo is working quite closely with the Kazakh government, and maybe this can open new working lines.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your very informative speeches. Now we'd like to introduce our second participant, Zaira Satpaeva. She is PhD student. Yes, she should be online from Rome. And the theme of her speech will be about. Zaira, no. Okay, so then I'm going to be the next participant. As I have already told, my name is Sultanat, full name is Sultan Khudaybergenova. So, and I'm going to speak about the challenges and opportunities of this program, Silk Road Economic Belt. Презентацию, пожалуйста. First of all, I want to introduce this program. As we know, this program, the program of Silk Road Economic Belt, was launched in 2013 during the visit of the President of China to Kazakhstan. And the main aim of this program was to connect the Central Asia, European countries, and to make one big Eurasian economic corridor. So nowadays, there are a lot of members of this program, and it is expected to have more as our partners from Spain mentioned that they were the 32nd country to join this program. And all in all, there are expected to be about 60 countries in this program. And the number of expected projects are about 1,000. To be exact, it's 900. And nowadays, so after 3 years of launching this program, many projects are done, and you can just see them even in our country, in Kazakhstan. And so, as we know, As we know, nowadays, there are in Central Asia, there are many members of this program like Russia, Kazakhstan, and other countries. And these countries some of these countries are really developed countries, and some of the countries are developing countries. And we hope that this program will help for the further development of all the countries along the Silk Road. So now we live in the 21st century. This is the century of globalization, of trade, of industry, between all the countries. Next, please. So here, as I have already mentioned, the number of expected countries will be about 60, and the number of projects expected 900. And there are lots of supporting programs, organizations. The number is about 60,000 organizations who support this very program, and these are like up-to-date, updated data, so you can observe. And here you can see the map of Silk Road program. So there are the points like Moscow, Almaty, you can see here. And also this very program is dedicated to construct the transportation between the countries, not only like in the continent, but it's also in maritime Silk Road program. As we know, the 98% of all turnover of this of the participant of the current program is not on the continent, but it's maritime. Also, I'd like to mention about the role of China here, because the initiative was from their side, and some people may have opposite opinion that China wants to win the leading position not only in Central Asia but all over the world in the sphere of investments, trade, like education or culture. But for China, in the program, it's mentioned that they see the current program like this. So they have their priorities and implications. So here you can see that there are five main priorities for China and for the other participants. So the main priority is to respect each other's sovereignty. So 1 second. Can you see here? No? So the first priority is to respect each other's sovereignty, and the second priority is not to interfere with the situation within the country. So China is like the partner, and it has no right to interfere your inner affairs. And the next is to provide peaceful coexistence within all the members of this program, and to maybe provide some cultural and educational support for all the participants of the program. To be exact, for example, if we speak about the infrastructure building, it is planned to build the transport infrastructure like ports or civil aviation, like Igor mentioned, or cross-border communication infrastructure based on optical cables or trunk line networks, leading to the creation of an information Silk Road among the countries. Then trade facilitation. Here we can say about the trade facilitation agreements and investment facilitation, promoting emerging industries, and establishing research and development capabilities. So the next point is financial integration. Here we can say about the building a currency stability system, investment and financing system, and credit information system in Asia, which can open and develop the bond market in Asia or in Central Asia. So, of course, one of the main points is the cultural and educational exchange. As we know, in Central Asia, so if we take Central Asia and for example, Europe, they have completely different culture and completely different cultural background. So here, this program, we hope that will be very useful in terms of this exchange because, for example, holding different activities, for example, Chinese culture, introducing Chinese culture to European cultures and vice versa, introducing European culture to Chinese or Central Asian countries, it will really enrich people's knowledge about other countries. And the last one, it is China-specific priorities. So here, it's like developing the cooperation with Central and Southwest Asian countries, opening up of cities, promoting border trade, tourism, and cultural cooperation. So I think that it's not like only Chinese-specific cultures, but it's, for example, if we take Kazakhstan, it can be also like Kazakhstan-specific priorities because we are also aimed to develop all the spheres in our country. For example, if we take the sphere of tourism, then we are aimed to develop tourism in Kazakhstan as well. Not only, for example, with bordering countries, but with all over the world, yes? So in this case, we hope that this program, Silk Road Economic Zone, will be really useful. And so I want to give some data here because according to experts, the volume of trade in the region will grow. And but nowadays it's still growing, but they expected it's less than expected numbers. For example, it is said that it will grow up to 1.5 times, but now according to the results, it's not so much. It's less than expected number of. Yes. And to conclude, I want to mention that nowadays the current number of participants and the current number of population living in these countries, it's about 25% of the world population. But in the future, it's expected to be doubled, as you have said, that 75 or 70% of the world population will be affected directly or non-directly by this program. And we hope that in the future, this program will provide us many opportunities. So thank you very much. And if you have any question, come to ask. Okay, then let's introduce the third participant, Zaira Satpaeva, PhD student, and she's going to speak about forming the innovative belt on the Silk Road. Zaira, can you hear us?
Good afternoon, dear participants. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zaira Satpaeva. I'm a PhD student at National University. And in training board of our conference, I would to. Did you see my presentation? Do you see my presentation?
Zaira? Yes, you can just. Can you just have your speech without the presentation? Zaira. Zaira, can you switch on your microphone so that we can hear you? Gauhar? Gauhar, can you hear us?
Да, здравствуйте. Я онлайн. Приветствую всех участников конференции. Мой доклад на тему «Новый шелковый путь» откроет для Казахстана уникальные возможности выхода на мировые рынки. Слышно меня?
Да, слышно.
Слышно?
Да, продолжайте.
Стратегическая инициатива Китая строительства транспортного коридора «Нового шелкового пути» откроет для казахстанской продукции доступ на мировые рынки и принесет большие экономические выгоды. В современных условиях для Казахстана важно иметь доступ на мировые рынки. Согласно экспертных оценок конференции ООН по торговле и развитию, объем торговли между основными рынками в Евразийском континенте к 2020 году вырастет в 1,5 раза. Ожидается также, что товарооборот между Китаем и странами Европейского Союза вырастет с 615 до 800 миллиардов долларов США. При этом сейчас межконтинентальных грузовых перевозок между Азией и Европой преобладает морской транспортный путь, на долю которого приходится более 98%. Значит, по мнению экспертов, переход на внутриконтинентальные коридоры создает для Казахстана большие возможности. Запуск программы «Нурлужо» и идея по созданию международного финансового центра в Астане, также совместная с КНР реализация программы «Экономический поезд шелкового пути» дают серьезный новый импульс для прихода в Казахстан иностранных инвесторов. При этом имеется ряд важных преимуществ реализации программы «Нурлужо», в частности, наращивание казахстанского содержания в транспортных проектах. Так как на автодорожных проектах программы «Нурлужо» 97% дорожных строительных материалов будут отечественного производства. В настоящее время дорожно-строительные работы ведутся более чем на 2000 квадратных километров, задействовано более 72 тысяч человек. Если для Казахстана воссоздание маршрута шелкового пути – это прежде всего раскрытие транзитного потенциала страны, с учетом выгодного геополитического расположения республики, то для инициаторов создания восточной половины транспортного коридора КНР это проект «Экономический поезд». Это еще и важный дипломатический шаг. Сейчас не только страны Евразии, но и весь мир рассматривает проект воссоздания шелкового пути как перспективный и судьбоносный для многих стран региона транзитный коридор. Но долгое время маршруты караванных троп, задействовавших еще во II веке до нашей эры, не принимали всерьез. Маршрут путь казался более выгодным из-за того, что маршрут шелкового пути проходил через горы и пустыни в сложных погодных условиях с большим перепадом летних и зимних температур. Несмотря на все более мощное развитие торговли Китая с другими странами, Великий шелковый путь прекратил свое существование в конце XVI века нашей эры. Этот период для Центральной Азии был ознаменован войнами и распадом империи монголов. О возрождении исторического маршрута всерьез заговорили только в конце XX века, когда появились технологии, транспорт, позволяющие совершать большие трансконтинентальные перевозки в сложных погодных условиях. Так, в начале 90-х годов активно обсуждался проект создания комбинированной евразийской магистрали, которая частично повторяла маршрут Великого шелкового пути, проходя через территорию КНР, Кыргызстана, Казахстана, Узбекистана, Туркменистана, Ирана, Турции и Грузии. В результате 3 мая 1993 года на конференции министров торговли и транспорта в Брюсселе подписана декларация о создании данного маршрута. Параллельно с развитием транзитных коридоров в регионе Центральной Азии, Китай начинает формировать современную транспортную сеть, связывающую крупные порты на востоке страны с переходами на западной границе. Создание отдельных транспортных коридоров было окончательно сформулировано как возрождение маршрута Великого шелкового пути в 2012 году. Тогда на 25-м заседании Совета иностранных инвесторов президент Республики Казахстан объявил о начале масштабного проекта «Новый шелковый путь». Казахстан должен возродить свою историческую роль и стать крупнейшим деловым и транзитным хабом Центральноазиатского региона, своеобразным мостом между Европой и Азией. На этом мой доклад окончен. Если имеете вопросы, спасибо за внимание.
Спасибо вам огромное. Гаухар, у нас имеется один вопрос.
Здравствуйте, Гаухар. Меня слышно?
Да, слышно.
Мне такой вопрос получается. Оправдала ли программа Нурлы-Жол свои концепции программы по развитию железнодорожных путей и автомагистральных путей между Китаем и Европой? Вы знаете то, что у нас имеется программа Нурлы-Жол, которая направлена на Западный Китай, Восток и Западный Китай, если не ошибаюсь. Оправдали ли данная программа по реализации государственной программы и, конечно же, шелкового пути?
Ну, на данный момент активно ведется работа, в частности, по развитию КТЖ, то есть транспортной развязки именно железнодорожного вида транспорта. Ну и параллельно идет строительство автодорожного покрытия, где планируют, конечно, 80% использования строительных материалов и рабочей силы именно отечественного производства.
Я плохо слышу, честно. Ну хорошо, когда Галхар, спасибо большое.
The next word is transferred our online participant, David Cheleta, PhD, University degree study di Padova, Silk Road Economic Belt, Eco-Logistics as the main method of firm's strategy. David.
Yes.
You. David, we hear us?
Yes. Okay.
Yes?
Yes. Do you hear me?
You start. You can start.
Okay. So the paper will discuss the risks and opportunities of transport market opened by the new Silk Road project. And it takes Ecologistic as a case study. So Ecologistic is a firm operating now in the European Turkish area. So it doesn't work on Central Asia. And our aim is to get deeper in the different aspects of the Silk Road projects, focusing on international transport, and to open a new field of research and discussion of the opportunities for Western firms to enter this market. So the paper is structured in 3 parts: present ecologistics, firstly, and its current market. Then it tackles an issue related to its plan to enlarging business to Central and Eastern Asia, and then it tackles the factors that have retained the firm of actually entering the Central and Eastern Asian area. So what's Ecologistic? Ecologistic presents itself as a green career. Why? Well, it was founded in 1990 in Turkey, and it rapidly grew. Now it has more than 4,000 vehicles and multinational workforce of 65,000 employees in Turkey, Germany, Ukraine, France, Romania, Italy, Hungary, Poland, Greece, Spain, and the Czech Republic. It offers an integrated logistics services, which means that it offers not just transport and trucks, but also on water and railway to domestic and foreign customers. The domestic in Turkish.
David,
Yes.
David, I'm sorry for the interruption. Can you just plug in the headphones correctly, because we are not hear you, and make the volume maybe a bit higher, if it is possible?
No, yes. Now it is better.
Yeah. Now it's better. Yes.
It's better. Yes. So and it works on different sectors like automotive, pharmaceutical, textile, chemistry, and retail industry. Its strategy is to provide clever integrated solutions and services within an innovative perspective, stressing energy saving and corporate responsibility, both to the clients and to the society. So it's long-term strategy, because they start acting so in the mid-90s, so just after the firm was grounded, is to enter the so-called green market, granting to companies operating from this perspective to include green transport in its business chain. This is quite important because, as you know, to get green certifications, you have to prove that you operate greenly all through your production chain, so including transport. And its aim nowadays is to become a leading green logistic company through most reasonable use of natural resources, implementation of sustainable projects, and raising social and environmental awareness. So now we come to the second point, why the company has been thinking and is still thinking to enter this new Central Asian and the East Asian market. So the idea emerged in maybe 5 or 6 years ago as a response to the economic crisis affecting Europe and affecting most of the company's clients. Another reason was the political problems and perceived uncertainty touching Ukraine that cut off the way between Eastern Europe and Russia to Western Europe, and they created troubles in this space. Then it also took into account still very optimistic perception of China trade, so the potentiality of this growing trade, and also the potentiality of Central Asian economies. And finally, it wanted to exploit current efforts of building a better railway road system all through the so-called Silk Road belt. So, in this context, Central and Eastern Asian market bring relevant results, so the company's managers, enhancing the company's range of action, compensating the low growth of the European demand for transport, and entering the market with an innovative offer. This point has been considered very seriously because the company's management thought and still think that China will commit itself to green production and green transport. Both for domestic problems, so we know that China has very high and important pollution problem, and for foreign trade reasons. Ecologistic analysts think that China is and will ever more invest in green business for limiting damages actually suffering from its environment and for procuring Western clients concerned in consuming green energies and operating within the green market. So those are the reasons that led this company to think about entering this market, and they actually built a business plan for it. However, this business plan has never been implemented and is still under heavy discussion. Why? Because the managers, it was a positive look at this market, it perceives cost and risk. So the risk related to the project are mainly the instability affecting Near Asia, which encompasses the war in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, political tension in Turkey itself, and the fear of expansion of radical Muslim presence in other Central Asian countries. So if you look at the geography, you understand why investing in Central and Eastern Asia transport may be perceived as a high risk business. Then the other considerations, if the commitment of China to green its production appears evident, is not perceived considering other Central Asian economies, and this will somehow limit the competitive advantage that would enjoy green firm in this market, exposing it as a country aggressive price competition of other operators. Secondly, and this is a very serious problem for the transport company, the company will have difficulties managing the current imbalance of trade between East and West. Great imbalance of trade mainly between China and the Western economies. So if it's easy to freight from China to Central Asia and farther on to Europe, the same as say on the other way around. So this is a problem of managing transport. So this aspect is stressed, highlighting the contrast with the European market, where those imbalances does not exist. So when a truck goes, hello. So from Turkey to Amsterdam, full comes back full, and this when they fear they can't do the same thing in East Asia. Then, third point, poor condition infrastructures in terms of road and rail are still an obstacle to effective distribution, heavily affect business in terms of higher transport risk, cost, and time. This consideration concerns all the mode affairs management, but the agreement and plans to radically improve integrated transport systems within Asia have not so far given the expected results, so management. And in this context, offering high-quality green transport services appears on a difficulty as a matter of fact, not visible, realitable. And then there is last concern. This is the corruption and briberies at checkpoints are considering severely affecting trade services in terms of both cost and time. It stays road management and trust the high quality services based on international quality standards. So to come to conclusions, so the Silk Road projects appear to the managers of this firm as an important new business opportunity. And this is true as proved by present papers, which is based on the first document and interviews to the managers involved in this project, as well as on the result of the project we are carrying out with this firm on green transport. So it's appealing even for a niche business as provider of high quality green transport. However, important constraints and problems, including regional stability, still limit investment in some cases the present one, prevent firms stepping into this new market. So I think that if these problems that have been elected to be solved, there will be very interested in entering and investing in this market. As I said before, they made very serious business plans for it, but they're still waiting for the evolution of the regional economy and political situations. Thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you very much for a nice speech.
Может, они выступят? Может, они? Кто выступит? The next word is transferred to our participants. Diana Kulibаева, lecturer at Finance Department, the impact of Chinese yuan on world economy. And
thank you for giving me this chance to speak about China and its impact on the economy. In this framework, in the framework of this conference, One Belt, One Road, there were many good things spoken about, benefits, but some people are skeptical about it, and they say, okay, one belt, one road, or maybe it's an attack road. We need to look at various aspects of this program. Many economists and analysts say that the global economy is in fact very fragile. The reaction on the volatility of influential currencies like yuan and dollar, euro, not only impact the countries, their own economies, but they also impact other countries' economies. When we talk about China, which is the second world economy, and during the crisis of 2007-2009, it was one of the main drivers of the world GDP. Therefore, we can say that it's very clear that what's happening now slows down the growth and impact the world economy. For many years, Chinese economy was booming and growing very quickly for simple economic reasons. One is production costs of Chinese goods, which have very competitive prices compared to European, American, and other Asian countries. The main statistics and information on Chinese indicators come from Chinese government official resources, but not deep informative, because Chinese economy is a deep forest, and a lot of people don't have access to it. That's obvious, and that helps to show. That doesn't help to show the real picture on the situation. But it is not difficult to see that even if we go, if we go out on the street right now, if we look around us, we can see that it's easy to identify things which are not Chinese than Chinese. And we look at on the left and on the right, everything is produced in China. Why? If we take an example, if I take this iPhone and I say, okay, if we produce this iPhone in Spain, and if we produce them in China, for example, for the same price, we get 1 in Spain and 5 in China. So we can say from that example that the production costs are much lower in China than in other parts of the world. And even if we take the margin and put it on the price of the production cost, still the production of this iPhone in China costs much less than in many other places. So from the practical perspective of the business person, it is much more lucrative to do business in China than back home or elsewhere. Because even with all extra costs such as transport, tax, and margin, with cost of production, the products still have a highly competitive price, and that's what consumers are looking for. It is one of the main priorities. Why? One can ask me a question, how about the quality? Yes, a lot of people talk about the quality and its importance. Quality is unquestionably very important, but if the price is high and the quality is high and the consumer can't afford to buy it, then he would go and look for the product which costs less and have lesser, not very much, but lesser quality. So now in this example, you can see that the price comes first and then the quality. So the lower production costs of Chinese products flooded the market overseas, and large markets such as American market, which has a lot of a very large number of middle-class consumers who are price sensitive, and this is the largest group of consumers worldwide. In fact, they choose Chinese products for the reason that they cost less, and maybe they have lesser quality than European or American, but they have an advantage. Almost everything the market offers is made in China. No news. Since that was in spring, the Chinese government decided to free its currency. And its currency started to fluctuate, and it was not long time to see how it impacted the world economy, such as US and Europe and other economies. The currency fluctuation caused the Chinese goods to be cheaper even more, as Chinese producers can reduce the prices even lower against the dollar and other currencies. That is a very favorable effect on the Chinese exporters. It's a very big plus for China. But there is another side of the coin, which is not very favorable for China, when we look at it from the investor's perspective. The devaluation of yuan affected foreign investors, and I just looked at some news 3 days ago. The Chinese foreign investment was reduced by 40%, which is quite a lot. Why did that happen? That's because foreign investors first need to take their own currency and then change it into yuan and then invest it into China, and that becomes expensive. but also there is a difference between short-term investors, long-term investors, short-term less than 5 years, long-term more than 5 years, and probably that would affect more the long-term investors because they would rather wait and look for market stabilization before making any quick decision. We are not far from here. We're not far from China, Kazakhstan. We are on the border. So how does that affect our country? At the moment, you know that Kazakhstan is very much resource-dependent market. What we do is we sell a lot of natural resources, and that also China is one of the biggest consumers for our natural resources, such as oil. The devaluation of its currency, what it does is the oil consumption from Chinese side will be lower, and then demand on it too. So that would reduce the demand for oil from Kazakhstan, and that would then impact the economy of Kazakhstan. However, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, agreed on the devaluation of yuan because they think that yuan will have a market price adjustment, and that will have a good chance and will have a better chance, yuan, to enter the world currency basket such as dollar and euro. So maybe yuan will have a chance to have the same position as dollar and euro in the future. And that will allow the countries and their banks to diversify their currency reserves and have more trading activities expansion with China. And that we will see in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your speech, Diana. And I have one question. So, for example, if we take as an example Latin America and Central Asia, so where is the biggest Chinese impact on which part? And how can it be seen?
It's worldwide. China have impact worldwide, and the biggest impact it has is on US and Europe.
Okay.
The rest also, I think Latin America and Central Asia have the same impact with China. How would you think?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, yes, sure.
Well, thanks for your speech. It was really interesting. I've got many questions. Maybe just to reduce or just to make it general, is GDP the only way of measuring development? Is GDP the only way to measure development in a country? When we speak about how does a country develop,
it's one of the main indicators. GDP is one of the main indicators.
Yeah, but the difference is that it cannot be the only one.
It cannot be the only one, but one of the biggest one.
Yeah,
yes.
of course. It's the first one we always look at.
Yes.
Okay, but you've been speaking about the advantages it's got in cost productions and quality and all that. So engaging all that, the thing is that GDP cannot be the only figure we look at. If you do look to statistics, I do always ask my pupils, I give you $1,000 to live in China or 500 to live any other place. What do you prefer? And they prefer to earn less money living outside that place than getting double and living in China. I mean, it's not all about money, and it's not all about social life. It's got more things to do. There are many things to do. So would you like to work in China the way they do, in their factories, with their conditions? I wouldn't. So my life quality has got an importance for me. So we shouldn't value every single thing done in money costs. There are more things. So I don't know if I would like to work in one of these low-cost factories. I don't really know. And all my companies, all the Spanish big companies are working in China. Yeah, you can see iPhone, as you said, iPhone made in China, designed in USA.
Yes,
designed in California, designed in the Netherlands, designed in Germany, designed in Italy, designed in...
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, elsewhere, but not in China. No, I just wanted to say that GDP or economic
No, it
figures.
was an imaginary example.
Yeah, no,
I'm
and
not
it's
saying,
good.
I looked. If I had a glass, I would say, okay.
It's,
a
no,
glass.
and it's perfect. I mean, it's perfect.
Yes,
It's perfect.
it wasn't the real example.
No, the example is perfect. But China is looking now, I think, just correct me if I'm not wrong, if I'm not right, is looking farther away. They are thinking, now they are looking in quality. They are trying to improve. Why? Personally, I think is the only way to improve in general life for everyone. If we don't do things properly well, then at the end it's just costs. And who holds those costs? Workers? Because Chinese millionaires, they live very well. But there are 1,000 million persons living in what conditions? I mean, I wouldn't like to.
Yeah.
So for me, the GDP has that importance.
But you just said that a lot of Spanish companies are looking at China and they move their production into China only because the production costs are lower, and that's the tendency at the moment. That's what market dictates to the producers. It's not their fault.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just telling that. Let's try to think.
The social aspect is very important, and a lot of companies are looking to improve the social aspect, and they look for the programs. They introduce programs into. You can see that even in China, they help the Chinese economy. So.
Some are coming back. I mean, Zara 1 year ago started to come back. For example, Inditex, which is one of the biggest one in the world, and he's starting to go back. He's giving steps back. So that's an example. And in Europe, there's a big, well, it's not big, but there's a movement, social movement, to do local investment. I mean, shopping locally, local design. Try to avoid a little bit that and try to encourage what you think. So I like this way of thinking. I think that factories should be properly managed. Workers should have good normal salaries. I mean, normal life. How can I improve that? So shopping locally. So if I'm in Kazakhstan, I should consume Kazakh products as much as possible. So every one of us, we've got a little. We can help somehow to create our countries, Kazakhstan, Spain, Italy, whatever, to improve that. Because I can imagine our small local shops trying to fight Chinese. Spain is invaded by Chinese, completely invaded. So I just encourage to think something further from that.
Thank you very much for your feedback. Now, from the audience, if you have any questions, any comments on today's conference, because we were unable to connect with Zaira. Yes, Zaira.
I don't know who can answer this question, but what are the first next steps that the Silk Route will have to be finalized? Like steps, concrete steps that has to be solved.
You mean the last step or the next step?
The next step. The closest ones. In the near future, what has to be done to make this Silk Route effective?
So I'm not sure because, but I've got some information. They have like plan, so consisting of different steps, and maybe some are expected, some are done already. But the closest, it was data from 2012, and the closest step was the construction of huge truck network. How to say it? Network of it was like shipping, and so it was all about transportation and the construction of big ports. That was the closest stage. Yes, maritime. Yes, Silk Road. So this was the closest to 2015, and it was expected. But it was 1 year ago, and now I'm not sure if it is done or not already.
As far as I know, the next steps are trying to find the fundings to develop all that. And there are a couple of institutions that have been created through the last year, as the Asian
investment funds.
Yeah, exactly, Asian. And there's a fight now between USA, Russia, China, India, because there are like three big funding institutions trying to control a little bit all this. So now there's a little bit of how is all this going to be funded.
Collaborate between these big powers.
That's what's going on the last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you said the situation is full. So we were unable to connect with Zara, so I think that's the end of our today's video conference. And if you have any feedback, any questions, comments, you're welcome. If not, so thank you for coming and thank you for participating.